From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Hello and welcome to the Primetime Bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. You can also watch us on ABN Sky Channel 235 in London and across Europe. Ahead in the bulletin, Ghanaians asked to support proposed amendments to the Right to Information Bill before it is presented to Parliament, again as the bill in its current state will not achieve much. Scores of Ghanaians, including MPP top guns, joined demonstration by pressure group AFAC to demand government fixes the economy. And local government ministry pledges to come to the aid of struggling school feeding program by raising funds to pay caterers. Also in the bulletin tonight, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana increases policy rate to 21% from 19%. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has cleared the air on the Tier 2 pension fund of the MPRE, saying it raked in an initial 1.6 billion Ghana cedis, which has been used for investments. All these plus the latest in business and sports coming up shortly. Do stay. The details now. Ghanaians are being urged to support the proposed amendment to the country's Right to Information Bill, which is yet to be put before Parliament. According to a senior lawyer and a long-standing member of the National Media Commission, the bill in its current state is embedded with too many restrictions, which, if passed into law, will limit the ability to access information, thereby defeating its purpose in the first place. The comments were made at a workshop held in Accra on Wednesday.
Akutompao, a lead member of the Right to Information Coalition, says the relevance of the Freedom of Information Bill may not be felt if passed in its current state. The current state of the document, he says, contains too many restrictions that will not allow for the free flow of information.
If you require information today, which will only be made available to you in 6 months' time, it will be useless. Unfortunately, those who crafted the bill, for reasons best known to themselves, made sure that it could take you almost half a year between the time you applied for a piece of information to the time it was made available to you. Then again, there was a key problem. Who will superintend over enforcing the bill, ensuring that public institutions comply with the provisions of the bill when it's passed into law?
Akutompao is therefore calling on Ghanaians to fully support proposed amendments by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs.
We should stand in readiness to support the report that the Select Committee will present to Parliament demanding those changes in the bill, together with the proposed amendments that the Attorney General's office is supposed to draft upon the instructions of the Select Committee, so that we can really have a right to information bill that will transform the political culture of governance in Ghana from secrecy and big boss mentality to openness, accountability, and a serving outlook, that public officers are public servants.
The Right to Information Bill is expected to afford all manner of persons currently residing in the country unlimited and timely access to information from all relevant government institutions.
Scores of Ghanaians today joined the Alliance for Accountable Governance, AFAG, a pressure group for its Agbewo demonstration. The demonstration, according to the group, is to express its disappointment at the Mahama-led administration. Joy News' Latif Idrisu followed the demonstration and has come through with the following report.
The demonstration, which started with a little over 500 people, saw the numbers swell as the demonstrators set off from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. The exercise, which was almost hijacked by the New Patriotic Party, saw in attendance minority leaders in Parliament, the General Secretary, the National Chairman, and the National Youth Organizer of the NPP, who expressed their disquiet about the harsh economic conditions and called on the government to sit up.
The AFAC people are organizing this demonstration as an expression to government that the people of this country are really tired. They're exhausted by the policies and programs of this government. They are indeed suffocating. So it's important because of the fact that all this while we've been raising the same issues in Parliament. So we thought that it would be important to express solidarity with our own people. That is why we are here.
We expect the whole country, their conscience to be tickled by this, that we, the Ghanaian people, the average Ghanaian, we are concerned about the lack of clarity in the policies of this government, especially in the financial management. There are too many scandals, financial scandals, that have happened over the last 6 years of the NDC. And our money has to be prudently used for the benefit of our people.
Well, this is a process, and you can see for yourself, and I'm sure you will let your viewers and listeners understand that the turnout shows how seriously Ghanaians are taking it. Even when you listen to the people standing by the side of the road, some of them are saying, we wish we could join you, but we are working for government. Some of them say, look, we are with you, go on. This is a process, and the process continues, culminating in the change that is going to happen in 2016.
The demonstration, the biggest in recent times, also attracted the everyday Ghanaian who has issues.
We did the same thing in Kumipreku and it changed. It should change. Things should change. We shouldn't be sitting there in our houses thinking that somebody will come and fight for us. It is our right to fight. So we are on the street. We are sending a message to the government. We will not take stakes. We will not take cutlasses. We are going to march and we'll send our petition to the government so that the government will set up.
The demonstration, which started on a peaceful note, almost degenerated into chaos when the demonstrators decided to take an unapproved route. The police, however, gave in to the demonstrators after some consultations with the leadership. But for the high level of professionalism demonstrated by the police personnel, the demonstration would have turned violent. The Greater Accra Regional Commander of the Ghana National Police Service says his outfit will review the exercise and be proactive in future.
We started well, they comported themselves, we got to Farisco and they decided to go on their own route instead of the approved route. And that is where they entered a business center, that is a market center, a place which was so congested and which was not good, that we have never used that route before for any of these demonstrations. What we try to achieve is to make sure that we get to where we have to get successfully. We have got here, but later on we'll sit down and then we'll advise accordingly.
So you just heard from politicians, students, traders, market women, who have all expressed how the chilling economic situation is affecting their businesses and whatever they are into. From the Kwame Nkrumah Circle here in Accra, this has been Latif Idrisu reporting for Joy News.
And here in the studio, my name is Stephen Anti, and a group calling itself the Concerned Youth of NDC in the Greater Accra region is urging members of the party to vote for a new crop of regional executives who can better the fortunes of the party in the region. According to the group, the era of poor and careless leadership must no longer be tolerated if the party wants to win the 2016 general elections.
Addressing a press conference in Accra, the convener of the group, Daniel Asai, appealed to party delegates to consider the future of the party when electing regional executives. The ruling National Democratic Congress has finally started electing regional executives after an initial attempt was met with some legal contest. The party's delegates in the Greater Accra region will head to the polls on Saturday, November 15, to elect their executives, and Daniel Asai wants them to be discerning in their choice.
We are calling upon the delegates members of the NDC, Greater Accra region, that coming 15th of November, that is this very Saturday, we want them to vote for an authentic leader, an authentic and ethical leader. And when we say authentic and ethical leader, we mean a leader who understands the culture of the NDC. We need a leader who is genuine. We mean a leader who is faithful. We mean a leader who is ready to walk his talk.
Chairman of the NDC Presby branch at West Legon, James Bosso, reminded the gathering of the party's inability to win more than half of the 7 newly created constituencies in the region ahead of the 2012 elections. This, is said, called for extra work from members.
7 newly created seats, and then NPP, opposition party, won 5. What evidence do you need? What else do you want us to say? Do you want us to wait until we lose everything before we begin to cry? No. We need to let the electorate, the delegates, become aware of some of these things so that when they go to the polls, they will take informed decisions.
According to James Bosso, the Greater Accra region is key to the NDC's success, and any attempt to elect persons without the requisite qualities can affect the party's fortunes in the 2016 elections.
And still in politics, the NDC Ashanti Regional Chairman Yao Owusu Bimpa has retained his position after beating 2 other contestants. He polled 244 votes, while his closest contender, Thomas Kwabena Brahma and Dominic Amoa, secured 165 and 4 votes respectively. Raymond Tando has also won as the regional secretary position after he acted since Joseph Yamin was appointed as sports minister. A report by Mohammed Mahmoud Nuruddin.
The 2 contenders for the chairmanship position, Yawusu Obimpe and Kwabena Brahma, created sharp division among delegates. Majority of the delegates insisted on re-electing Obimpe as a regional chairman of the party ahead of the 2016 election. A total of 414 delegates who took part in the exercise gave more than half of their votes to the incumbent chairman to lead the party again. Augustus Andrews also polled 254 votes to become the vice chairman of the party. The incumbent organizer and treasurer, Alhaji Sani and Ibrahim Justice, retained their positions with 214 and 203 votes respectively. Their propaganda secretary position also went to Abdul Samed Akalilu, who secured 246 votes. Delegates who spoke to Joy News are confident in the newly elected executives.
We are going to produce 1 million votes in Ashanti region. And mind you, in 2012, we even had more than 1 million. But due to certain things, about 600,000 was declared. This time around, with this new executive, under the able leadership of Yaosu Bimpe, the sky will be the limit. We will score more than 1 million votes in Ashanti. That is victory for the party. Don't forget, we've already promised His Excellency the President that we are going to get not less than 1 million votes.
48 candidates contested 11 positions except the youth and women organizer positions. 414 delegates from 47 constituencies exercised their franchise yesterday. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
And the challenge of lack of funds for the school feeding program may soon be a thing of the past. This is because the local government ministry is hoping to come to its rescue. Speaking on the floor of Parliament on Wednesday, the Deputy Local Government Minister Ni Lante Vanderpoy said his ministry is raising funds to support the program, especially when there are delays in the release of funds from Get Fund.
Deputy Local Government Minister Nilante Vanderpoy admits the non-payment of caterers under the school feeding program is as a result of the irregular flow of funds from Get Fund. He hints his ministry will generate the needed funds to pay caterers whenever there is a delay to ensure the smooth running of the program.
There has been problem with the releases from common fund to make the payment for the caterers much more not frequent. But the ministry is also working a procedure where we could also from our own sources raise the necessary funding in order to cater for the arrears, so that when the releases are made, we will be able to reimburse the sources we took it from.
The deputy minister said while his ministry intends to pay all outstanding arrears, it is also in the process of strengthening its monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to be able to address all issues affecting the program. Meanwhile, the Interstate Succession Bill 2013, which is currently before Parliament, was on Wednesday read for the second time. The bill seeks to address the deficiencies in the Interstate Succession Law, PNDC Law 111.
The Interstate Succession Bill seeks to give a larger portion of the estate of the deceased to the spouse and children than is the case at present.
The Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament says the anomalies in the current law are such that they could not be treated in an amendment, hence the introduction of the Interstate Succession Bill 2013. The bill, when passed into law, is expected to make the interstate succession regime more responsive to the needs of the immediate family of persons who die interstate.
Still in Parliament, members asked the Health Ministry to intensify efforts to prevent a possible outbreak of the deadly Ebola disease in Ghana. MP for Ablekuma South, Fritz Bafo, who made the call, urged the Health Ministry to tackle the Ebola disease with all seriousness it deserves.
According to a research by Northeastern University, USA, Ghana ranks top of a list of countries at risk of recording an outbreak of Ebola. There have been calls since the outbreak of the deadly viral disease early this year for the Ministry of Health to increase its efforts in preventing the disease from breaking out in the country. Members of Parliament on Wednesday raised concerns over the porous nature of the country's borders and what they said were the ineffective systems of screening other airports.
That the manning levels at all border posts should be increased with the right equipment and weaponry to effectively patrol our very porous borders. I wish to state that in our interaction with the various personnel of the various security agencies we encountered, many concerns were raised which, for reasons of brevity and in order to stick within the context of this statement, will be brought before Parliament at another time in the future.
If you go to our border posts now, you will see that first of all, the entry point, you will have the immigration officers being the first point of contact before the health personnel. So in the case of this particular issue, we had recommended that for the menace of the Ebola, why can't we have a situation where there is rearrangement? The health post people will be in front so that the travelers who are coming will meet them, the health personnel first, screen them before they even go to the immigration process. Now it is the other way around. On our national television, GTV to be specific, Mr. Speaker, I have not seen any program being run where the nation is educated consistently and repeatedly on how to deal with cases of Ebola. We need to use our national television to educate the citizens of this country on how we can fight the menace of Ebola. I think that if we're able to do this and ensure that there is no unfettered opening of our borders, the proverbial hospitality of the Ghanaian will not be taken advantage of.
More than 10,000 cases of Ebola have now been recorded as the virus continues to spread. Out of the 10,141 cases recorded in 8 affected countries, almost 5,000 patients have died.
Watching the Prime Time Bulletin on Joy News or Multi TV. You can also watch us on ABN Sky Channel 235 in London and across Europe. Welcome back to our Prime Time News Bulletin. Now, pressure is mounting on the Ho Municipal Assembly to develop the capital, Ho, and other parts of the municipality. Groups and individuals have been calling on the Ho Municipal Assembly to build a permanent office complex for themselves, as well as undertake major developmental projects in the Ho municipality. They say though Ho municipality is mother to about 3 major urban areas, very little has been done to develop it. The appeal was made during a social, public expenditure and financial accountability forum in Ho, the Volta region. Komlado has the rest of the story.
The forum was jointly organized by the Ho Municipal Assembly and Community Development Concern CDC and NGO. Some participants at the forum argued road network in the municipality are in deplorable conditions as compared to that of other regional capitals. They expressed worry that the potholes have taken over almost all the roads in the area. Spokesman for the Asagli traditional area, Anthony Nyamelagbe, questioned the assembly on why they cannot allocate internally generated funds to develop the municipality. The Ho MCE, Jifa Adinyura, assured the assembly is on course to rapidly develop the municipality. She said the assembly is operating with a 3-year plan to develop the municipality at a speedy pace. Jifa Adinyura said the assembly's 2015 budget covers some developmental projects which will soon commence.
The park is congested, so one of the big things we want to do is we want to decongest the central business district. So we have actually budgeted for the construction of 2 new lorry parks so that we can decongest the central business district. And then we're going to construct a number of classrooms, and then we're also thinking about constructing 2 new markets, and then some number of cheap compounds. We're going to do that.
In a related development, some disappointed supporters of the National Democratic Congress NDC in the Volta region say they have defected to the New Patriotic Party. Under the banner Disappointed NDC Youth, they registered their displeasure on the NDC government's failure to improve their lives since assuming office in 2008. The leader of the group, Robert Tetefio Ajasi, stated their defection is due to the unbearable economic hardship Ghanaians are facing currently.
I'm telling you, today, when you take one city cannot buy anything. The economic system has poured, changed. And then all of a sudden, our beloved country, Ghana, is asleep. Deeply asleep. And whatever the NDC is doing, I don't think Ghana can even wake up. Call it, there's no work in Volta region for the youth. When we wake up, the only thing is we sit at Solom base, 1 city, we soak Solom, and after that we start gossiping. We go and sleep, and then like that, we become useless guys in town. Look at Ho from Accra to Volta. We spend about 1 hour 40 minutes to the ferry side, and then we spend like 4 to 6 hours at the ferry just to cross to Volta to Ho. And then look at the roads. Very, very bad. If a government in power know that this is your stronghold, and then you love the country, or you love the Voltarians, as you coming to do things like that, you have to construct on-approach routes to the town or to the regional capital. But then see the roads. Our road system is very bad.
He expressed disappointment at the NDC government's inability to sustain and improve laudable interventions initiated by previous governments, such as the Metro Mass Transit, a national health insurance scheme, school feeding program, among others. The group says it will vigorously begin a campaign by mounting a banner at one of the major road intersections in the town with the inscription, "Disappointed Youth of NDC crossing over to MPP." They are optimistic many will join them soon. Komlado's report for Joy News.
And the Techimai Municipal Assembly is to provide new 6 classroom blocks to some communities within the municipality. This was disclosed by the Municipal Chief Executive Philip Opong Amponsa at Joy News' Town Hall program We the People at Techimai in the Brown-Hafo region.
The Town Hall-styled program We the People is designed to provide a platform for metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives and their residents to interact and deliberate on issues bordering on the development of their various assemblies. Wednesday's forum was attended by traditional rulers, representatives of some civil society organizations and a cross-section of Techiman residents. For the residents, the forum provided an opportunity to meet with their leaders, listen to them, and demand answers to issues that bother them.
Insurance yetuya cash and carry da hono mentia se na nyame ya duma ye nyina ya be hia tachimama ye nyina be hia wan me pese me bisa better question no woni ya no nchire mu na yanyantia se insurance na eda gina na so ana insurance no awu.
What are you and your assembly doing to fence our school, your MAGHS, because people use their place as toilets and roads even during classes hours? 2. The assembly has also built toilets for the school, which is completed, but when will it become compassionate so that your students can use it? Thank you.
2014 budget, say basic cages. We should take municipality ha. You need cage beer or especially worker can tell you about ho. Can quality do you see? The
municipal chief executive Philip Opomponsah touched on the assembly's projections for 2015.
The 6 classrooms are schools on the tree. The 6 classroom Krufi. The 6 classroom Taboso. The second phase Brika. On other areas.
We the People is brought to you in association with Star Ghana.
And members of the Sola Tuna Kalba District Assembly have voted to retain 44-year-old Isaac Mumuni Dramani as the district chief executive for the area. He polled 43 votes at an emergency meeting. Isaac Mumuni Dramani was first confirmed as the DC in 2010 and his first tenure expired on October 5th, 2014. Rafiq Salam reports from Sola in the northern region.
The election, which was conducted by the Sola Tunakalba electoral officer, Vusuhini Ashanti, required the nominee to poll 2/3 of the total votes cast. Before voting got underway, Northern Regional Minister Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Lemuna appealed to the assembly members to confirm the DCE. There was a similar plea from the Sola Tunakalba Member of Parliament, Soriti Dari.
Military issues, we can't confirm our district chief executive. So I beg all of you to use your conscience very well and confirm our hard-working DC, because I have been with him for almost 8 years now, and I've seen the type of job he is doing. I collaborate with him in all aspects of the district assembly. So if you have a district chief executive who is prepared to work with a member of parliament, I think it is a credit to the district.
At the close of the polls, the nominee Isaac Mumuni Dramani polled 11, more than the required votes, with 5 people dissenting. In his victory speech, the 44-year-old DCE-elect talked about the new course he will be charting.
My doors will be open to all those who have ideas and advice on the development of the district. Don't sit on the fence. Let us unite to develop Sola Tunakalba district. The district is for us, and we owe it ourselves to support in its development. Time will not permit me to associate my vision for the next 4 years, but it will anchor on 3 areas: uniting the people for development, accelerating infrastructure development, and developing the human capital.
Rafiq Salam's report from Sola in the northern region.
And a 35-year-old widow in Boku in the Upper East region, Lizetta Sule, survived a murder attempt on her life last Thursday by bravely holding on to her assailant's gun, struggling with him and then shouting for help. Neighbors came to her rescue, and her assailant, who ran away, was later arrested. But Lizetta says she still does not feel safe because her assailant is yet to be prosecuted. Upper East regional correspondent Albert Sori has more.
Lizetta Sule lost her husband 4 years ago and has since been living alone with her 2 children, aged 14 and 9. She says she's never had any problems with anyone in her community of Sabongari, But last Thursday, she nearly lost her life when a masked man came into her compound with a gun and attempted to murder her. She recounted the incident to Joy News.
I was sitting here cooking when I saw some guy coming in. The person was in and then pointing the gun on me. I said, who is that? The person should stop pointing the gun on me. The person refused and still pointing the gun on me. The time I got to the car, I thought the person was playing with me. And the person refused and still pointing the gun on me. So I grabbed the gun and we started struggling. I was just shouting, crying, people to come and help me. And I got to know that if I leave the gun on that side, the person will shoot me. So I refused to leave the gun. And we were struggling. We struggled from here to the port side.
Lizita says she still fears for her life.
I want the police to look after it because I'm now scared. Maybe I will come back and then they will come back and then kill me all my children. So I'm now scared. The police will look after this so that if they are guilty, they should know how they will do to them.
Boko Crime Officer Adamu Seidu confirmed the incident to Joy News but declined to speak on camera, citing security reasons. He said the alleged assailant, Sule Rashid, an 18-year-old student, upon his arrest, later told police he was sent by one Alhaji Seidu Lafenaba, a 57-year-old farmer, to murder Lizita. The Alhaji, according to the Boko police, has never denied the allegations. They are both currently in police custody, awaiting to reappear in court on November 17. Boko police say 18-year-old Sule Rashid will likely be charged on the counts of possession of a firearm without lawful excuse and attempt to commit murder, while Alhaji Seidu Lafenaba could be charged on the count of abetment of crime with intent to commit murder. A report by Albert Sorry.
You're watching the Prime Time News on Joy News on Multi TV, and you can also watch us on ABN Sky Channel 235 in London and across Europe. Up next is business.
So it's been quite busy on the business front today, and as always, I'm here to update you. My name is Abigail Adumakwenchi. We'll start off with the Bank of Ghana. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank has increased the policy rate to 21% from 19%. The MPC has, however, set the interest rate corridor at 300 basis, which means that the increment will not affect lending rates of banks.
MPC revealed that the Bank of Ghana's Composite Index of Economic Activity, CIEA, for the third quarter of 2014 suggests a positive year-on-year growth of 7.8% at the end of September 2014, compared with 9.6% in the corresponding period last year. The bank's survey of consumer sentiment in October 2014 also showed that consumers were upbeat about the general economic conditions. The overall index improved to 85.6 from 77.5 recorded in August 2014, while business confidence rebounded with an improved index of 88.7 from 78.6 in the second quarter. But the committee insists vulnerabilities still persist, hence a decision to tighten the monetary policy.
The latest forecast indicates that inflation will continue to remain outside the target band, but expected to ease gradually towards the medium-term target, which we put at 8.0 plus or minus 2%, and we expect to come within that band by the first half of 2016. The inflation target could take a longer duration, in excess of 12 quarters, to be achieved, considering the vulnerabilities in the economy. The committee decided to maintain the current tight policy stance and at the same time realign rates in the money market within the interest rate corridor. Consequently, the committee took the following decisions: increase the monetary policy rate from 19% to 21% to ensure that the existing tight monetary policy stance is maintained while still operating within the corridor set by the committee.
The MPC, however, explains the new rate will not affect banks' lending rate.
Currently, we have a corridor above the policy rate of 500 basis points, which the Monetary Policy Committee thinks that is too high and doesn't allow us to send the right signals or to the market in terms of monetary policy implementation. So the committee has set a corridor of 300 basis points. If we maintain the policy rate at 19%, whilst ensuring the corridor is 300, that will mean that bringing down the upper end from 24% to 22%, which will really mean loosening of monetary policy. So what we are doing is more of a correction. We are moving the rate up to 21%, but the 24% at which we lend to banks, which also influence how they deal with their customers, is still the same at 24%, because that is the rate at which we will continue to deal with the banks.
Gross international reserves, which at the end of October 2014 stood at $5.9 billion, has meanwhile improved to $6.6 billion as at November 7, 2014, equivalent to 3.8 months of imports cover. Abigail Atmakwenchi for Joy News.
We'll still stay with the Bank of Ghana, but this time on the pension funds, that's the Tier 2 pension funds. Well, the Bank of Ghana says the total outstanding investments belonging to MPRE from the Tier 2 pension fund is 1.6 billion cedis, which has been used for a number of investments. The central bank told journalists at the MPC meeting today 11 million cedis is currently in the account for the MPRE.
Now, the total outstanding investments that we have in our books belonging to MPRE is about 1.6 billion cedis. Apart from that, there's about 11 million cedis standing in the books, which at the time I checked, I don't know whether they are still there, because each time the monies are received, we then are asked to invest them in specific instruments. That's all I can tell you now about that. As to when those amounts were credited and when they bought instruments and so on, those are details that the MPRE can easily give you. The first bank issue, whether there is conflict of interest or not, that one I think you have to ask the operators of the second tier system. They have a methodology for qualifying those who can be managers of the funds and so on, and I think that they can tell you better what are those requirements and so on. We as Central Bank have followed those requirements. We have selected the managers of our funds and so on, and we don't have a problem with that. But each institution has to be involved in that. So I leave that. If you want details of what are the requirements, you have to talk to MPRE to give you additional information on that.
Now to inflation. Well, the inflation for the month of October hit 16.9%, up by 0.4% from 16.5% recorded in September this year. This is the highest inflation rate the country has recorded since March 2010. Deputy Government Statistician who announced the new rate indicated that the housing, water, gas and other fuels in the non-food segment recorded the highest rate of 36%, followed by transport with 30.6%.
In the food and non-alcoholic beverages group, cocoa, coffee and tea recorded the highest inflation rate of 20.2%. This was closely followed by meat and meat products, which also recorded a 19% rate. Fruits and vegetables recorded the lowest inflation rate of 1.5 and -6.1 percentage points respectively. Overall, the food and non-alcoholic beverages group recorded a year-on-year inflation rate of 6.5%. The rate recorded is 0.7 percentage points higher than the 5.8% recorded in September 2014.
We also did that for the inflation rates for imported items and that of locally produced items. And the inflation rate for imported items, which was 24%, is about 1.5 times higher than that for locally produced items, 14.3%. Again, the year-on-year inflation rate for imported items, also 24%, is about 1.5 times as high as the inflation rate for locally produced items, which was 14.3%. Now, the main price drivers for the non-food inflation rate, these were housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, with a rate of 36.0% and transport 30.6%.
At the regional levels, the year-on-year inflation rate ranged from 13.4% in the Upper West region to 19.7% in the Upper East region. 6 regions, Upper East, Central, Northern, Eastern, Ashanti, and Western, recorded inflation rates above the national average of 16.9%.
Now here, this government is set to wage war over structurally high interest rates from January 1 next year. Minister for Trade and Industry, Dr. Gabra, who disclosed this at the Graphic Fidelity Business meeting, added that the move is to deepen access to credits for SMEs for economic development.
The meeting, which brought together stakeholders in the business community, was to explore the roles of small businesses in national development and raise solutions to some of the challenges these businesses face. The GIPC says it has begun internal restructuring to support the SME sector since its operators remain ambassadors for investments.
Certainly there are the large corporate institutions. They have a very important role to play in showcasing the dynamism of investment opportunities. But by the same token, it's really the SME communities who are the best ambassadors. They are the ones who are experiencing on the ground a lot of the different impacts of the policy decisions that are driving business opportunities. And so our focus has also been on interactions and collaborations that allow us to draw from those experiences and showcase them appropriately in support of economic development.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry in turn maintains there is a need to tackle the major challenge SMEs face, which is access and credit.
We also recognize that the SMEs in general, not just in Ghana but across the world, they tend to face some common challenges, of which, because this forum is being sponsored by a bank, we want to highlight the issue particularly of access to finance, and not simply because the finance is there, but even the cost, especially the cost of the finance. And some of you have already possibly read somewhere that all of us here, not me, will be declaring a war on high interest rates beginning from January 1st. So we are giving the banks notice so that they can begin to start taking appropriate measures, that we are tired of structurally high interest rates. I mean, I'm waiting for the survey to be conducted, but I'm sure Ghana is one of very few countries in the world where interest rates for more than 15 to 20 years, almost as long as I have been an adult, have structurally been 20% or above. And yet, as we shall find out, there are countries in the world where people are borrowing 0%.
But for fund managers, interest rate reductions only come when SMEs position themselves well to lower their risk margins.
Have you put in place a proper bookkeeping system? Do you know what your monthly expenses and your monthly incomes are? Are you on top of what's going on in your second, your third, your fourth outlet? Have you thought about succession planning? Have you given your staff the proper training? If you end up in a crisis, will you have a plan B to know what to do? All of these things help you mitigate risk, help you present us with exactly how you operate, help us know you better. And when we know you better, your risk margin comes down. And when your risk margin comes down, your interest rate can also come down. And I'd like to take up the call that the Honorable Minister Spiro Gabra threw at us this morning. A war on interest rates. A war on interest rates. And I'd like to say, okay, let's take up that challenge. I'll join in that war, but I hope you're ready to join me in the trenches.
Member of Parliament for New Jabe North and the chair for the meeting, Hakman Owusu-Agyeman, has meanwhile recommended a mentor-protege approach in developing the SME sector. Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
And that does it for Business. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. George Adu Jr. comes up next with sports.
Sports now, and the new host of the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations will be named in 2 or 3 days. CAF President Issa Hayatou revealed the time frame and added that the tournament dates remain January 17 to February 8. CAF President Issa Hayatou expects the new host for the Africa Cup of Nations to be confirmed in the next 2 or 3 days. The African Football Governing Body confirmed on Tuesday that Morocco would no longer host AFCON next year following a standoff with the Moroccan Football Federation over concerns surrounding the Ebola virus. With CAF vehemently opposed to switching the dates and the Moroccan Football Federation eager to move the competition, it was also confirmed that Morocco would not feature in the tournament. Hayatou explained on Tuesday that the new host is set to be confirmed this week, while also defending the decision to strip Morocco off the competition, indicating postponing this event will open the door for every other country to ask for a delay of any competition and at large take away the credibility of the competition. Hayatou also went on to express his disappointment at the situation, stating Morocco's planned hosting of the FIFA Club World Cup in December demonstrates the ability to host the African Cup of Nations as well. No host yet, but preparations are ongoing, and Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan is backing caretaker coach Maxwell Konadu to see Ghana through the qualifiers. The Black Stars face Uganda on Saturday in Kampala and play Togo next Wednesday at the Cross Stadium. Asamoah Gyan is unavailable for the Black Stars following his knee injury, but is confident Maxwell Konadu would ensure Ghana's qualification to the tournament.
Yeah, we've worked with Maxwell for some time now. He has been in the game also, like Coach Kwesi Appiah. He has been in the game. He understands how the game goes. You know, he's got good relationship with the players, and that is the most important thing. You know, and he also got his tactics in the game. You know, so I don't see any difference. You know. With the coaching staff, about Coach Maxwell. He's got experience. He has coached the best team in Ghana, talking about Kotoko, you know. So I think he's got experience also to, and I like his personality as well. You know, he's somebody who is a man of his word, you know. So he's got a bright future. Although we've got a new coach coming to coach the team at now, but I think he's got a bright future. He can be a good coach one day.
Now, former Chelsea boss Avram Grant is expected on the country in a few hours to conclude talks on the possibility of taking over the management of the Black Stars. The Australian is scheduled to meet the hierarchy of the Ghana Football Association after he came out tops on an interview some weeks back. The Ghana Football Association says Avram Grant will be handed a 2-year contract as the new Ghana coach, pending an agreement on the financial terms of his contract and other rules of engagement. Joy Sports understands that in addition to the financial issues, the GFA would look into suggestions that Grant's Israeli passport could pose accessibility problems if he has to travel to some specific Arab nations in his line of duty. Beyond those, however, Grant remains the man the GFA wants as Kwesi Appiah's replacement, and are hoping they can cross all the T's and dot the I's before making a formal announcement as soon as they can. The Ghana Football Association says Grant ranked highest after they interviewed the former Chelsea boss, who worked with the Switzerland national team as assistant coach, and Juan Ignacio Jimenez, who is in line to become Ghana coach in the event that Grant and the Ghana Football Association don't reach an agreement. Grant's background as a former Chelsea boss and manager of Israel seem to have been some of the factors that gave him the edge over the other applicants. Meanwhile, Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan has endorsed the near appointment of Avram Grant as Black Stars coach and says he's looking forward to working with him.
Yeah, for what I know about Avram Grant, you know, he's an experienced coach. You know, everybody know about. Although I haven't worked with him, but we are the players. You know, we are here to die for the nation, and we expect every coach that comes, we have a good relationship with the players, and then we work together as a team. You know, it doesn't matter who we have, but with all due respect, he's a great man. You know, he's coached one of the best teams in the world before. You know, everybody knows him in the world scene. You know, so we just can't wait for our first training with him, and then I'm sure we abide by his tactics. You know, everything that he brings on board, we just abide by it because we are working for the nation, and he's going to be our boss. You know, so we have to listen to what he's going to say. But he's not a coach, and we do welcome him to Ghana. You know, as a new coach of the Black Stars.
That's your sports. I'm George Ade Jr. Stephen will join us with some more. Have a good night.
And in showbiz, breaking out of a group to start a solo career might seem appealing, but does not come cheap. In actual fact, only a few artists survive on their own after a split. One lady who is hoping to do that is a former member of the TM3 group, Shaggys.
Ghana's music scene has had its fair share of groups splitting up, with individual members taking on solo projects. So it was not exactly strange when Mildred McHanson, popularly known as Shaggys, decided to go solo after her group Triple M split. Shaggys managed to release a maiden album, My Time, some 6 years ago, but then almost quickly went under the radar. She has, however, resurfaced and tells showbiz she's working on a new album.
Actually, I believe in doing a better job and bringing it out rather than rushing, and then because everybody is coming out, you come out with something that your fans might not embrace. So I actually was in the studio doing my homework well. I wanted to come up with a good sound, and each and every time you release an album, you should be sure it would be better than the one you did previously. So my long wait was actually doing my homework well and trying to bring out something that is more good for my fans to like. Yeah, it's actually versatile. I have raga, I have hip hop, I have hip life, I have high life, and a whole lot. So it's a whole package, like a cocktail album. Yeah.
Shaggys, who is the secretary to the Musician Union of Ghana, says Hey the Betatamo album is a mixed bag, and she's hoping to have a grand return with it.
For showbiz. Before we go, a look at our major headlines again. Ghanaians have been asked to support proposed amendments to the Right to Information Bill before it is relayed before Parliament, as the bill in its current state will not achieve much. And scores of Ghanaians, including MPP top guns, join demonstration by pressure group AFAG to demand government fixes the economy. And local government ministry pledges to come to the aid of struggling school feeding program by raising funds to pay caterers. Also, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana increases policy rate to 21% from 19%. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has cleared the air on the Tier 2 Pensions Fund of the MPRE, saying it raked in an initial 1.6 billion Ghana cedis, which has been used for investments. That's all for the news. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com and multitvworld.com. My name is Stephen Nt. Good evening.